What's going on, everybody out there, and welcome back to another episode of the Dark Avenger comic book review, the show where each and every episode I share my thoughts on the books came out last week. And this week we have 22 books that we're all going to talk about, and I say we this time because for this episode, this very rare occasion, I'm actually doing the Dark Avenger comic book review a day late. Well, not really, hours late, because usually it goes up on Monday night. Today we're doing it on Tuesday afternoon. And B, it's live. We're doing a live show talking about all the books I read from last week, the week of March 11th, 2020. I have 22 books to talk about. But before we talk about the 22 books really quickly, as you all know, there's a lot going on in the world right now, and that's one of the reasons why this is late. I had all my books read. They were read. Honestly, they were read probably 3 days before. I mean, I finished reading pretty quickly. I think I finished about Friday last week. The problem was there's a lot of stuff that we had to do. As you all know, we have the coronavirus that's going all over the place right now, and everybody's panicking, everybody's buying, everybody's doing a lot of things. So we had to make sure that our house was all set and taken care of because unlike the hoarders, we're just trying to have the normal amount of food, the normal amount of juice, the normal amount of everything in our house, and people are not making that really possible right now. So if anything, message to everybody out there, the world's not ending. Please only buy what you need. You don't have to hoard. Toilet paper's not going to disappear because of this virus. It's not going to be taken off the shelves. It's being taken off the shelves because people are buying 20 at a time. So please only buy what you need because there are a lot of people out there that need just a normal amount of toiletries and food. And you having an entire basement stock full of crackers, toilet paper, paper towels, and dry macaroni is not going to protect you any more than having your normal amount of food and then going out to buy another normal amount of food, unless you're planning to lock down your door and not go out for the next 2 months. Then just take enough for your 2 months and don't overbuy. I don't know, but everybody stay safe. I am, however, working on something in light of the situation, and I am going to be talking about that over on the Dark Avenger Nation Facebook group. You can go check it out. You can go to facebook.com/Dark Avenger Nation. That is the group channel for Dark Avenger C86. We talk about comic books. We talk about all the really awesome stuff going on. And then I do live streams every now and again, exclusive to the group. So I am working on something because of what's going on in the world right now. And I'm going to be talking about that on Dark Avenger Nation. Probably, I want to say before Frontline Live tonight. I mean, Comic Book Weekly, still having those hiccups every now and again. Comic Book Weekly on Comic Frontline tonight. I'm gonna try to do it before that. If not, I will do it tomorrow morning. It really all depends on time. I was hoping to do this at 12 o'clock. I ended up having to run out for a little bit. I'm home now, and I'm not planning to go out for the next while. Let's pray. So I'm home now. I decided to schedule this for 3:45. So without further ado, one other thing, as this is a live show, two things you're going to notice aren't happening here. Number one, I will not have the graphics showing up because can't do that on a live show. And unfortunately, another little fun little cues I like to do, like when I talk about joining ShootingStarUniverse.com, my website today with all the exclusive written stuff. The comic review, why I brought the reviews back, is officially up now. You can go check out that post. I have other posts I'm working on exclusive to ShootingStarUniverse.com, and that's also the epicenter of all the stuff I do online. You could also stay tuned right here to Dark Avenger C86. This week I'll be doing previews. I'm going to be doing all 3 previews, one a day. I'm probably going to have to do one from tomorrow on, since tomorrow's Wednesday. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And the order, I did put up a poll. The winner of the poll was DC Comics, followed by Marvel, followed by previews. So Wednesday will be DC, Thursday will be Marvel previews, and then Friday will be the gigantic previews magazine, which is basically everything else and more. So look forward to those. Look forward to streams on Twitch. Look forward to a lot of stuff that's going to be coming out throughout the rest of this week. Comic Book Weekly tomorrow. And let's hope that AEW Aftershock if AEW, I think AEW is still happening. Let's keep our fingers crossed about that. So with all that, and don't forget to follow me all over social media, Dark Avenger C86, except on Twitch, it's Dark Avenger Gaming, and chaos is coming there. Okay, done. I promise I'm done. Let's get into the books, which there will not be any timestamps in the description. I apologize. Again, this is a live show. I'll try to come back later and watch it live. JD the Media Jack Friday, gigantic time. The gigantic time? Gigantic? If you're talking about Doom, yes. Gigantic, I have a game called Gigantic. I haven't played it in a while. And what's going on, Ryan? How are you doing in all this madness? Hopefully you're not overworking, because Ryan is a police officer, and he's probably knocking some sense into the people that I was just talking about 5 minutes ago. So, that being said, 22 books, and while both of them are answering me, I'm going to start. And that's another difference. I'm going to be answering comments, live comments. Now, I'm going to try to rewatch this back, put the timestamps in. But if I don't, I apologize. They are in the order I'm discussing them, though. I promise that. So just go by that. Grimm Fairy Tales, Universus, because it's a versus book. Then it's a one-shot. And there's a guy called Legacy who's plucking characters from the Grimm universe and putting them against each other in an arena, in a death match. And he goes back in time, and it was nice to see Sela grab Sela and the Dark Lord, I believe his name is. God, why did his name leave me? Names are going to always leave me. It's just the way it is. It's either my age or it's just because I read too many books. He plucks them out of time and wants to set them into a battle to the death. They find out what he's doing. Wow, it loads in a bunch of stuff at once. I will answer those once I get through this book. So, Dark Avenger packages are gigantic. Very great size gotcha. Okay. So far, so good, but Madeline's daycare is shut down. Yep, I understand that for sure. My packages are. They are. It's true. So, Sela ends up breaking away from this tournament and finds out that Legacy, where he got his powers, how he got his ability to pluck people through time, and they go back in time and prevent him from getting those powers. And then it turns out they might not have, ? Love the artwork, love the action. Legacy was an interesting character, and it was nice to read a Grimm Fairy Tales one-shot once again. It was a fun read. I enjoyed it. Definitely recommend it. You're going to notice my reviews are a bit shorter. 22 books, everybody. I cannot do 3 minutes per book. We'll be here for an hour and a half to 2 hours. The Flash 751, Flash versus Godspeed. And Godspeed's working for this person who's, wow. And I could have sworn I remembered this person's name. No, I've got to remember this one's name because it's important. But he is fighting the Flash because apparently this person is saying Paradox. It was Paradox. I remembered it before I even got into the book. And Flash is fighting against Godspeed because Godspeed was told from Paradox that Flash is going to destroy all time and whatever. And the Flash throughout time needs to be erased and destroyed and whatnot. And then, they get into a bit of a fight. Flash says, really, I want to hear more. So he goes back to Paradox. And all this is going on. And you also have Iris, who's finding information out her way, which was interesting. Read the book. I'm really happy to be back in the Flash. I love the artwork in the book also. Did I mention I really love the artwork? I actually might be getting this arc in trade. We'll have to see how the rest of the arc goes. So Godspeed, we find out, is a double agent. Because Paradox basically says, yeah, he could destroy time and space, but if we destroy him, it releases a little bit of chaos into the world, and he could absorb it and basically become a time god. And it becomes more of a power trip than it is to save the world. We find out Godspeed was a double agent this whole time, and I love the panel where he's like, I told you once before you could trust me no matter what. And he goes after Paradox, gets his butt kicked. Flash tries to fight Paradox, gets his butt kicked. And things don't end well. Or at least they don't look like they end well. That's all I'm going to say there. It doesn't look like they end well for Barry. We'll have to wait and see what happens in the next issue. But I'm hooked. I like the story arc so far. Really cool stuff. Definitely something I would say look into. I've been reading The Flash since 750, so I'm only 2 issues in since the last time I stopped reading Flash. Really interesting, though. I'm really liking this arc. I'm liking the artwork. I haven't really been into Flash for a while. Stories didn't grip me. Art didn't grip me other times. So I'm happy to say that this is definitely, both art and story have definitely grabbed me. Stealth issue number 1, which everyone has been picking up. Honestly was not going to even give this book a look into it at first. Then I noticed a lot of people are picking it up. A lot of people are buying it. I actually ended up buying this as a physical first issue from Midtown Comics. If you haven't checked that out, by the way, too, I am getting Midtown Extra packages every single week. This week I already posted it up on the group. Next week, Stealth is going to be a part of next week's haul. It's a extras haul. It's stuff that I didn't get in my monthly pull, which we'll work on that as time moves on, as soon as everything clears up in the world. So Stealth issue number 1, we get introduced to Tony and his father, who slowly is suffering from dementia, or his memories are going. I mean, it looked like dementia at first, pardon the hiss. It looks like dementia at first. He's calling him Eric, which is his brother. He's having moments where he's forgetting things, or he's tripping and falling, whatever. And Tony he wants to go out. He goes out, and we get introduced to Stealth, who's going around looking for this girl. We don't know who this girl is, but he's fighting crime and he's saving people, but he's kind of doing it in a very, very brutal way, not as he was before, from what I'm understanding. But we're led to believe throughout this whole first issue that Stealth is actually Tony, because Tony keeps getting annoyed at his father. At least that's what I'm taking in as a reader. I could be wrong. Lo and behold, we find out that Stealth is actually, and is, I really should, and I'm going to do this right now, just so that it's spoilers. Spoilers are happening here, folks. I could do this on a live show, so spoiler alert warning. It's his father who is Stealth. And the father, who's suffering from dementia, we find out it's because of the suit. And the people that gave him his suit, the Men in Light, I joke you not. I know immediately what all of you are thinking, but no, it's the Men in Light. They're going to come back and fix him, and he ends up beating up his son because he forgets where he is at first, and he ends up hurting his son by accident, thinking he's a crook. And it was good. I like this first issue. I like the artwork in this book. It's a mini series. I believe it's 5 to 6 issues. You're going to probably hear me. First issue. I like the artwork. Yep. I just want to make sure that, okay. I just wanted to make sure that, because the comments were coming in very slow, so I'm just going to keep my phone on me just in case. Love the first issue. Avengers of the Wasteland, issue number 3. Normally, I blame Brand for getting me into books. This one goes to Mike Spiderslayer. I read Avengers from the Wasteland issue number 1. Didn't think I'd be interested. I decided to go back and read issue 2, so I knew what I was going to be reading in issue 3. And then I read issue 3. I'm officially hooked on the series. Doom is looking to destroy the Avengers before they even begin again in the Wasteland. And he sends he's going across the world looking for them and destroying town after town. And it turns out that this group of vampires are following behind them and cleaning up the scraps. Basically, the anybody who's left alive, they feast on either side. It could be from Doom's army or the towns that he's going through. And basically, he's killing all these people because he wants to find the Avengers, stop them, and destroy them. So they find this out, and now they realize they have to go after Doom. They have to stop him. And there's a really awesome fight between the Avengers and these vampires. And then they get Viv back online, Vivian Vision, which is Vision's daughter. And we find out that she actually has the real Captain America's shield, and she gives it to the new Captain America, the Captain America of the Wasteland. This is going to become an ongoing. I have a feeling that we're going to be getting, we have the Gameverse, we have the zombies. I have a feeling we're going to get the Wasteland series now. Why? Old Man Logan did very well, lasted a while. Old Man Hawkeye, another great mini maxi series, did very well. Avengers of the Wasteland, everyone's talking about it, and it's a good book. Good art, good story. I have a feeling we're going to get more from the Wasteland as well, but that's cool. I can live with that. I'm very happy about that because I got into this book. I really liked it, and Mike owes me a lot of money because I actually did decide to get this in physical form because it is, again, another mini-series. So I figured I'd grab all the issues as they came out. Now, this book is nobody's fault. This book somehow fell into my lap, and that is because of the name connected to it. And it was in issue number 1, and that's Jim Henson's The Storyteller, The Ghost, issue number 1. Artwork didn't grab me at first, but it was Jim Henson, and Jim Henson did the Dark Crystal, and that was one of my little guilty pleasures I'd read on the side. So I was like, this is an issue number 1. Let's look at it anyway, even if the art didn't. The art's very sketchy in this book, but it's a story. It's a person telling his dog who could talk. Don't ask. That's just the way it is. It's a Jim Henson book. This shouldn't surprise you, Muppets. And he's telling his dog this ghost story, and it starts off about this poor woman who has these 2 children, and she can't keep them. She puts them out in the cold. A person comes along, and it's these 2 twin boys, and unfortunately, one died. The other one lived, so she saves one boy, raises him. He grows up. He finds out he had a brother, but his brother was dead, and he wants to go find him so that he can give him a proper burial. What he doesn't know is his other brother becomes a vengeful spirit because he's upset that he was left in the cold, and he goes and takes revenge on the person who's the reason why the mother had to abandon them in the forest in the first place, and he was left all by himself because his brother was saved as well. So the other brother, the living brother, goes out and looks for him because he wants to give him a proper burial. God bless his soul. And along the way, he finally meets up with his brother, who is the vengeful spirit. And he doesn't know that at first. But as the book moves on, or as the story moves on, the ghost actually finds out that the human is his brother because he's like, I need to find my brother. I need to bury him. And the ghost realizes that, and he's like, that's my brother. So he brings him back. The brother finally is able to bury his brother who passed away years ago. And it ends happily, but it's a sad story. And it was weird that I got compelled by it. I really, truly got compelled by this book. And I liked it. So I might come back for the second issue. Again, the artwork is the only drawback to this book. I don't see a lot of people really liking this artwork. It had a Hellboy feel to it. If you like the Hellboy artwork, similar, not the same, because I know a few of you out there that love Hellboy or will look at this artwork and go, this is nothing to do with Hellboy. I thought of it that way when I was reading the book. I enjoyed it, though. I'll see about the second issue. Immortal Hulk 32. I have not reviewed an Immortal Hulk book ever. I think I reviewed the first issue way back when the Dark Avenger comic book review was ending the first time, or when we were reaching 500, and it wasn't my cup of tea. It was a horror story with the Hulk, and I didn't really care for it. Little did I know, 6 issues later, I actually was hooked on the series, and we're continuing along with that. Now we're finding out that Bruce Banner might be under some type of mind control. However, the Hulk isn't, but the Hulk is now trapped inside of Bruce Banner, and this person is manipulating everything that's going on around. So I'm interested in seeing what's going to transpire with the Hulk. Was the Hulk, obviously let's rewind that. Obviously, this had nothing to do with his resurrecting constantly, but was he being mind controlled, though? Was the Hulk that was cognitive really Hulk, or was he being controlled by this being? I don't know. I was a little lost with that, if the Hulk was being controlled all along, or if it's just now that's what's happening. But it's a solid book. It's a solid story, and Alex Ross does all the covers to the book. How could you say no? Honestly, I wish Alex Ross would do more covers for more series. It was really a breath of fresh air to see him doing Spawn. I'd love to see him do other ones. He did Spider-Man. I wish they'd release a book with all of his covers. That'd be really cool. At least the Marvel ones. Spawn, I think, was the only one outside of Marvel that Alex Ross has done for a while. So, Immortal Hulk surprised me, and I know that we're winding up to the finale of this series very, very soon. I don't know what issue it is, but I believe we're getting to the final issue of Immortal Hulk, and then we're either going to get another volume, or Immortal Hulk's over and the Hulk will be back? Question mark? Death to the Army of Darkness, issue number 2. Ash wants no longer to be the one. He wants that burden lifted from him completely. What's up, Mike T? How could you say no easily with an N and an O? Well, you can. I enjoy it. So, I mean, you can say no. I like it. But I know you like a lot of Batman stuff, so you can't say no to Batman, which there is actually a Batman book in here you might be interested in, Mike. Welcome to the show. So, Army of Darkness 2, Ash doesn't want to be the one anymore. So he goes to this person and tries to have the one separated out of his body forever so he can be left alone and live out the rest of his life, and the Deadites will stop chasing him. Well, the person who does the spell in the first issue does it wrong. And instead of taking the one away from Ash, he separates Ash into all of his different personalities. Just started watching, so I don't know. I just said no to... Oh, okay. If it's money, I'll take it. You said no, so you will never know now. You'll have to go back and watch. So Ash is now separated into all these beings. He has his feminine side, this little mini version of himself, Bones. It's interesting. I like this story. I've always liked Army of Darkness books, and the artwork complements the story completely. So the Deadite takes over the person that just separated Ash. Ash kills him, and now he has to figure out how to get himself back together. And the way to do that, as always in any Army of Darkness book, I mean, I feel bad for Ash because he is always constantly going back to that freaking cabin in the woods. I wish he burned that thing. You know what? Maybe burning it wouldn't be a good idea. No, this time he didn't, Tevye. This time he did. Well, yeah, maybe, yeah, he did. Isn't it always the way, though, when it comes to Army of Darkness? Ash always does something. He screws something up, and boom. Wait, Chris, so what are you saying? Is Ash has to... Yeah, wrong Ash, Mike T. Wrong Ash. We're talking Bruce Campbell. The king, baby. I love how actually his feminine side was like Hail to the Queen, baby, in this one. I like that. That made me laugh. That should be a poster. But they go back to the cabin. They end up fighting his girlfriend for the umpteenth time, which was hilarious as always. Funny enough, that did happen in Ash versus Evil Dead. I know. The mini guy was something that happened in Ash versus the Evil Dead. Oh, no, that was Army of Darkness. Oh, you're talking about Ash. We don't want to talk about the one that didn't have Bruce Campbell in it. So, oh, wait, you're talking about the series. You're talking about, yeah, that's what I was saying. Okay, there's too many Evil Deads out there. You're talking about season 1. He did go back to the cabin. Yes, that's the crazy part is they always go back to that stupid cabin. So, anyway, they end up having to make the incantation. They do it, and it ends up sending them to the point of origin where they can be brought back together. And it's a very interesting cliffhanger, to say the least. I love the cover of this book, too. Yeah, the series. I thought you meant that. So I'm loving Ash versus Death to the Army of Darkness. I'm really looking forward to seeing where this arc goes. I love the Army of Darkness books. They're a guilty pleasure of mine. I might actually go and get the single issues. I'm debating, but if I don't, I'll probably end up getting the trade, which I might also get. We'll see what happens. We'll see how many books I have this week coming in. If I don't have that many books, I might just pull the trigger and get the first 2 issues and then continue on from there through Midtown. Thor issue number 4. Quite interesting, that one panel where Lady Sif sends Mjolnir away, and it somehow lands at Loki's feet, and he lifts it up. Very interesting. All of a sudden, Loki might be worthy, and Thor is having a hard time with the hammer, and I love how, this is the only question I had, though. He's trying to commit, he's telling them he's got to do this for whatever reason, and after a whole issue of fighting Beta Ray Bill, Sif just is like, okay, all right, we're going to go. We'll wait for you back in, Valhalla, whatever. We'll see you there, see you later. And they just leave. And Thor continues his mission with Galactus. But now, instead of letting Galactus kill planets with people living on it, Thor demands that he save the people that live on it, which he does. And he sends them all to Asgard. I said Valhalla before. Good for me. He sends them all to Asgard, and then he lets Galactus destroy the planet. But he gets to this last planet, and Galactus does not want to wait. So he destroys the planet with all the living beings on it,
And I love how Thor's like, I know this has to be done now, but you are going to answer for this planet. You're going to answer for a lot when this is all done. And he's like, eventually. And he's like, yes, eventually. Strong book. And the artwork is gorgeous. Thor's books very rarely don't have good art. This was very good art. Now, Tevia, you're only allowed to put one comment about the next book I'm going to talk about because I don't want a wall of comments. And I see that slowly happening. Young Justice issue number 14. I am glad that Young Justice was able to find Superboy in one issue and get him back because I cannot take the artwork in the Warlord universe. Oh my God, that artwork really hurt. So this issue has Impulse getting the whole team together to go after Star Labs and the woman who sent Connor, flying through time. And they do. Long story short, they do. And just as they're about to take her into Justice, she's like, wait, I can tell you what happened to Young Justice. I can tell you why you all didn't remember you all were Young Justice. To be continued. The way I explain this book is all you need to know throughout this entire book. Yeah, to say the least, I want to see what she has to say in the next issue. Give the next arc a try, and if I'm not enjoying it, I probably will be letting Young Justice go at this point. Hoping for the best, keeping my fingers crossed. I see there's going to be a Superboy focal point in one of the. I know Superboy's been the focal point, but there's going to be one where he's, deciding, where he's finding out pre-New 52 and post-New 52 where he's at. I'll stick around maybe for that, and then we'll see what decisions are made and what decisions are made with the entirety of the book. I mean, there are a lot of changes apparently going on with DC Comics right now with all the head changes, but I think that with what's going on in the world right now, things are going to slow down with what's coming, next with DC. We'll have to wait and see. Venom issue number 24. I was right. I knew there was no way he was going to be taken off of the island so quick. So we find out, long story short, and I've already given you guys a spoiler alert, that the symbiote that reached him first was not his other. It was the Carnage symbiote that's being controlled by Jesus. Why can I not remember names? He's being controlled by the god, the symbiote god. I'll get his name. Null. Being controlled by Null. So, unfortunately, the Venom symbiote lost out, and Eddie becomes controlled by the Carnage symbiote or the Null symbiote and is being dragged away. The symbiote has full control. However, his son is able to now apparently make portals or whatnot with his powers, and he's able to reach out to the Venom symbiote and pilot him mentally, telepathically. And because the symbiote's not connected to his body, it can take whatever form it likes. And I love how in the very end, and it was one of my panels of the week, they decided to go with a T-Rex Venom. And I love how he's like, let my father come back. And, give me my father back. And that's how it ends. So now it's going to be Eddie's son versus the Carnage symbiote to finally free his father. And what about what's going to happen with the missing? Is the Venom symbiote just going to heal it? I really don't want Eddie Brock to be handless for the rest of his, life now. I mean, that's a little bit, teeny bit much. I mean, we had Flash Thompson losing the legs ever since the One More Day thing. Don't want Eddie Brock to be missing a hand. So the one thing I'm hoping we get with the symbiote is that it somehow heals his hand. Maybe they'll find his hand, it'll put it back on him, and they'll pull like a little symbiote, and it'll be like Wolverine. I don't know. I don't know how the symbiote works. I just hope that it heals his hand. That's all I'm going to say. Now, Mike T, the book you might like, The Batman's Grave, issue number 6. Batman and Jim Gordon are getting out of Arkham, and they're fighting their way through Arkham. Maybe he could become the new Ash. No, Tevia. So they're fighting their way through Arkham, and I love it. And we find out that this whole thing was set up because a specific person wanted to escape and had escaped. And we find out also somebody else was killed. And again, I'm going to get through this book really quick because that's really all that happened. It's them getting out of the Arkham and very little dialogue. It's a very quick read there. And then we find out that somebody was killed, and apparently this person knew he was going to die, so he documented it. So now it's going to be up to Batman to decipher the documentation, figure out who did it and why. Batman's Grave is a very interesting book. I don't know why I keep coming back to it. I think the Arkham fight was really it. I'm on the fence if I'm going to be continuing this book. This is one of those books that if I get a chance to read it, I will. If I miss issue 7, I probably won't come back for the rest. I know it's a 12-issue maxi series, so I don't know. I'm very hesitant. We're only halfway through the series, and I don't feel really a lot of a connection with this one. There are other Batman series I did. This one, not so much. Not so much. Ghost Rider issue number 6. Now, I missed issue number 5, I guess, because I was a little lost with what was going on, so I might have to go back and find issue number 5 and read it, because I know I read issue 4. Doctor Strange now wants to send Ghost Rider back to hell because he has Mephisto, and he's like, why do you have Mephisto? Why is he here? Why are both of you here? You know, and I love how Johnny is pissed off at Doctor Strange because he's like, you told me to go down there. It would be temporary. You told me you'd find a way to save me. So I took up the role. I took up the throne. And where are you? Do you have a plan? Do you know how you're going to save me? How you're going to bring me back from hell? And he's like, we're working on it. And then I love how Mephisto's like, tell him the truth. Tell him that you got your hands back and you're being a doctor now. So you really don't have time to figure out how to save Johnny from hell. And of course he admits it because it's true. And Johnny I think the longer Johnny is with Mephisto and the longer Johnny is the overlord of hell, the more we're losing Johnny. So he's like, find me the door. We need to get out of here. There's a lot going on. And I love how you have Punisher, Wolverine, and now also the other Ghost Rider whose name left my mind has this is where I missed it, the sword that gives him abilities until he can get the Ghost Rider powers back. And they're trying to prove that Ghost Rider Johnny isn't going crazy, that he's not just killing humans. And I love how Elsa, I think, oh God, Bloodborne, is it not? No. Why can't I remember her name? She has this device and she shows them that all the beings that he's killing are not humans, they're actually demons in disguise. And now everybody's like, oh man, we were wrong this whole time. Now, see, that connects to what I remember reading. So now they're realizing that Johnny's not there just killing random people, that he's actually there because demons have escaped hell and he's trying to bring them back. So are they going to team up with him? Are they going to try to help him? Are they going to fix him? Because he is slowly going down a dark path the longer he is Overlord or whatever. So I'm interested in seeing how they're going to save him. What's going to happen? Is he going to remain Overlord of Hell? Is he going to take over his own book and become the Ghost Rider again? Be interesting. Very, very interesting to find out. 3 Spider-Man books now. You ready for this? Symbiote Spider-Man Alien Reality issue number 4. Spider-Man goes back after arguing with Doctor Strange. They go back and find out that Natalia's fine. But again, she's working with Hobgoblin, who's working for that other person. And she sends them. It turns out they have to go to the Nightmare Realm. And in order to do that, they have to be put to sleep. So she easily puts them to sleep. And that's where things go wrong fast. So they're in the Nightmare Universe. And they're trying to get the book out of the Nightmare Universe. Well, in the real world, the ring that Doctor Strange had was taken by Red Cat, which is basically Natasha, Black Widow, and is brought to Hobgoblin and this other person who already have the book, destroy the book, and Doctor Strange are stuck in the Nightmare Universe, possibly. That's the long and short of it. Very interesting stuff. Love the artwork in the book. I'm really having fun with this symbiote Spider-Man. Like, these are the tales we didn't get from when Spider-Man was in the symbiote costume. And it's fun. It's a really fun read. And the nightmare he had about Gwen Stacy, he's able to save her, but then she gets killed anyway by the Green Goblin. And the Green Goblin takes the mask off, and it's MJ in the end anyway. That's a true nightmare. I guess that's one of Pete's true nightmares. But Very good stuff. Very good stuff. If you're not reading it, you're missing out for sure. And then in the Gamerverse, Spider-Man: The Black Cat Strikes, issue number 3. If you played the DLC, you know what happened already. Black Cat, Mary Jane is having a hard time because Pete didn't tell her the truth from the beginning about there being a possibility that Spider-Man and Black Cat have a child together. And she's like, you didn't trust our relationship was strong enough. And he apologizes, but Mary Jane got the information they needed. So they go, and of course, Black Cat ends up turning on Spider-Man. She was using him all along. She traps him for a time. He's able to escape, and we find out that Kingpin actually planted something at her apartment. So Spider-Man tries to rush to save her, and unfortunately, things don't go so well. Now, that might sound like a quick read to all of you, but there's also another part. There's a flashback that Mary Jane tells to Pete and tells him that, after, we find out why they broke up finally because she couldn't take it anymore. And then we find out, and then it was her adapting to finding out that Spider-Man was dating somebody else, which he really wasn't. He was just working with Black Cat, and they had a fling. But at the same time, it's like she saw this, she got upset about it, and she said, I went through a stage, and then she was like, you know what? No, I broke up with him, so it is what it is. So there was a lot of story in here, and I love it. I love the Gameverse. I'm looking forward to Captain America coming out this week. Obviously, that book is going to be connected. Wasn't this from? Yes, I just said that, Tevye. It's from the DLC. I'm really looking forward to the Avenger stuff we're getting from the Gamerverse because this is all going to connect to the Avenger game that's coming out in September. And I'm excited to play it. I can't wait for that game. I couldn't tell all of you how excited I am. I might get the single issue. I'm not sure yet. I am reading it digitally. So we'll see if I like it digitally. If I do, I might continue it physically. I know that the Black Cat Strikes, I ended up stopping after issue 1. And I'm probably just going to end up getting that in trade. But I could always go back. I know I have issue 1. So I might get issue 2 and 3 and 4. I don't know. We'll see. I ended up stopping the single issues for Black Cat Strikes for other reasons. Not because I didn't like the series. I like it. Let's hope nothing gets delayed. I don't think that game will be delayed, Tevye. It's all the way in September, and it's pretty much done. So let's hope not. But I might end up getting the Black Cat Strikes and then also Captain America as well. We'll see what happens. And then we're going to conclude with Amazing Spider-Man issue 41. We find out why Kingpin is so interested in Boomerang. He knows where the pieces of the time tablet are. What's the time tablet, you might be asking yourself? Because I sure as hell don't know. It connects to something all the way back in Amazing Spider-Man 75 where Dr. Strange, sent them away. But for some reason, this person found them, and Kingpin is very interested in it because he wants to bring his dead wife back. How many times is he going to be trying to bring his dead wife back? I don't know. He reminds me of Mr. Freeze a little bit with his wife, wanting to bring her back. And you see how well that worked out for Mr. Freeze during the Year of the Villain, did you? Yep, that's what's going to happen to Kingpin. So anyway, so this whole issue, we find out that that's what Boomerang told Spider-Man. And then throughout the whole book, they go looking for the different pieces of the time tablet so they could keep it from Kingpin, maybe keep it saved. Also, it's connected to when Boomerang became a hero because of what happened after Siege. Was it? Not Siege. It was Secret Empire. After Secret Empire, how he kicked, Hydra's butt, and he became a hero now. So it ends with this character. I have no idea who it is, and I've asked around everywhere, and none of my friends know who it is. But it ends with Spider-Man and Boomerang coming face-to-face with some monster. I don't know his name. I don't know what it was. But it was crazy. Definitely crazy. And I love the artwork in the book, and the story is very interesting. I like the team-up with Boomerang and Spider-Man. It's a lot of entertaining fun. Going into the Joe Hill universe, we got the Dollhouse Family issue 5 of 6. So Una is now missing. The mother goes to the police. Of course, the police think she's absolutely bonkers. Mother decides, okay, I have to go back to the house where this all, first her and the husband do a lot of research on the house, the origin possibly, and who was involved, who's the family that's in the house. And we find out the backstory for every single member of the family that's in the dollhouse and where it all began. So she decides she's going back to the source, and it turns out that it was left to her, the house, because it's a house that's part of her family. All the puzzle pieces are coming together, everyone. And she's going through the house trying to figure out how to find the dollhouse and how to get her daughter out and back. And I love how there's a ghost there, and we find out that the house was actually made with, I don't know if I want to say it, so I'm just gonna say it was made with a human, not a human remain, but something that's remained after birth. And apparently she knows that the cat that's been following her throughout this whole adventure is a guardian or is a ghost or whatever. And the cat's like, I forgot how they put it, but basically the house wanted to be how would you want to give birth to something, or how would to be born? Something wanted to be born, and it was born in the shape or in the house. And wow, it was crazy. This book is nuts, and I'm interested in seeing how she's going to get into the house, how she's going to find the dollhouse, how she's going to get in there, and how she's going to get her daughter out and break the curse, because apparently this curse goes all the way back in time, and it involves things that you have during birth and some dark magic stuff, dark stuff. It's Joe Hill. I love it. I can't wait for the rest of the series. And then I'm probably going to pick this up in physical form via trade, because it's a miniseries. The trade will look a lot better on my shelf, especially since I didn't get any of the issues. All right, X-Men issue number 8. Every time Brew is in a book, I love him. Brew has the best personality, in my opinion, ever. And he's visiting Krakoa, and before that, there's a little dialogue between some of the people living there, and one person who was out in space brought back this trophy, and Brew is just having a good time, and then he comes to their room and he sees this thing, and it turns out it's an egg. It's a Brood King egg, and the Brood are not going to be happy that is not with them anymore. And they're basically going to rain fire and hell down on them via Brood if they don't get rid of it. And I love how, as he's explaining that, the Brood, who we find out are out in space, and they were living on this space whale. The art for this was gorgeous. They end up crashing down on Krakoa, and it becomes this humongous fight. So now it's up to Cyclops and a small team to get that egg off of Krakoa, get that egg off of Earth, and let the Brood chase after him. However, there are 2 factions chasing after the Brood egg as well. One faction is led by I forgot who the person was, but he has Cyclops' parents or father once again. I don't understand it, how his father gets captured so much. Ever since the Young X-Men came out and we got introduced to Cyclops' father a bit more, we've known about the father, but since he's been in Cyclops' life more, he's been captured and imprisoned. So, I mean, he makes Peter Quill's being captured and imprisoned look like nothing. So you know it's bad. So he gets released, though, because the person who promises him the egg says, release him and I'll make you bet he'll bring you the egg. And then you also have Gladiator and his son who find out about the egg and the Brood, and they're going after the egg. So you've got all these people who are now looking to get their hands on this egg. The Brood, Gladiator, this other person. It's going to be an insane crash. Finally, we're getting more than just a one-issue story. We're actually getting an arc, and I'm looking forward to seeing where this arc goes. I like the Brood stories that we get with X-Men, so it's going to be interesting to see where we go and how the Brood are going. This is going to end in some type of an explosive kind of fight. I know that. Cable issue number 1. I know a lot of people are going to criticize this book because of the art. The art is definitely something to get used to. And it's Cable on Krakoa, and he's in this type of arena. He fights Wolverine, and Wolverine loses, which would never happen normally. He cheated. So anyway, he beats Wolverine. We find out this child goes missing, and it's because, and then he gets attacked by this gigantic monster that also lives on Krakoa somehow. And it's up to Cable, Armor, and I forget, Pixie to save this little kid. So they get him away, and I love how Cable's fighting him, and then all of a sudden Armor has to save Cable, and they figure out that it's funny because the creature looks like a lion, and it goes back to the lion with the mouse, and he has the thorn in his paw. Well, this monster has this thing in his paw, and Cable goes to pull it out, and it turns out it's this gigantic freaking sword. And because he has telekinetic powers, it connects him to who the sword belonged to, and get the full-length story of that. And then apparently, in finding that sword, it wakes up these other celestial beings who now want to go after that sword as well. And now that I love how young Cable's like, you know what? Maybe old Cable loved big freaking guns, but I love big freaking swords. And he's happy and he's keeping the sword apparently. And then we get a little tiny glimpse somewhere else in time, in some different world. Old Man Cable is still alive. Now, for me, I'm like, well, duh, because if young Cable came around and stopped, the young X-Men and wanted to send them home, obviously there are going to be other versions of Old Man Cable or older Cable. So I'm not surprised that our normal, Old Man Cable is out there somewhere. It's going to be interesting to see when he decides to come back to present day time, though, what's going to happen. Now, the last 3 books are all Star Wars books. I haven't reviewed a single one of these books, but I thought it ended spectacular, and I wanted to talk about it. And that's Star Wars: The Rise of Kylo Ren, issue number 4. This was a sold-out series, and I feel bad because if I would have known it was as good as it was, I would not have slept on this book. I am getting it as a trade. This is the last part. This is the final step to Kylo Ren becoming Kylo Ren. He's working with the Knights of Ren, and Snook, who was the one who suggested he works with them, this was how it put basically Ben Solo down the dark path. And it involved Ren killing one of Ben's friends. And then Ren also, basically Ben turns on Ren, becomes the leader of the Knights of Ren, kills his last friend, says, you know what? This is how it's got to be, and this is who I am. He actually takes the crystal. This was the coolest part, was he took his own crystal, his Kyber crystal that makes the blue energy on his lightsaber, and we find the origin is he's actually crushed the crystal, turned it red, turning it to the dark side, and because he crushed it and it was in 2 pieces, that's why he had to have the 2 exhausts on the sides of his lightsaber, because the lightsaber alone, without the 2 exhausts, it was exploding and burning out. So he needed that because it was extra energy that was shooting through the crystal. And it was cool. It was a really wow way to see how Ben Solo kind of faded away and became Kylo Ren. And then obviously anyone who's watched the last edition of Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, you saw how Ben was redeemed and came back to the light side, and then the entire family of Skywalker, well, yeah, even though Rey changed her last name to Skywalker, I don't think that counts. I really don't. But I mean, hey, honestly, I think these last 3 movies were out there, and if the true scripts that I saw and heard about are the real scripts, that's what should have happened. But this is what happens when you get the people who directed the movie to direct the movie. You get, and that's what you get. Me personally, I thought they were okay. I mean, could they have been better? Yes. Could they have gone a lot worse? Oh, yeah. They definitely could have gotten worse, too. So I think we got the best scenario with the people who are doing the movie. A live show, UK friendly. I know, Jordan, right? Skywalker is a common name in Star Wars. Isn't it? Isn't it a common name? So yes, Jordan, congratulations. It is an actual UK friendly time. Isn't that great? As I'm rounding out the show, because I've only got 2 more books, and actually you're going to be very happy. It's all Star Wars from this point on. So The Rise of Kylo Ren, I loved it. Recommend it. If you didn't read it, single issues, get the trade. I already pre-ordered the trade. And then I have to get going. Have a good one, Ryan. Thank you so much for stopping in. Get a hold of you later. Definitely, Ryan. Stay safe out there. So Star Wars Darth Vader issue number 2, we find out that Padme is not Padme. It's actually, if you watched episode 1, it's the stand-in, the fake that looks like Padme, sounds like Padme, but isn't Padme. And her name left my mind completely at the moment. Basically, it's her stand-in. So it basically is Darth Vader issue was fun. It was very fun. So she ends up at first fighting Darth Vader, and then Darth Vader, he says, somebody snuck in. I know it was you. I want to know what really happened to Padme. We all did, Tevya. And obviously she does too, because if she's the one that went in there and stole the tapes, What is going on, the Black Knight? What is up? Welcome to the stream. We're talking Darth Vader right now. And I love how they teamed up, and Darth Vader had a lot more of his flashbacks to the first 3 episodes of Star Wars, which I know a lot of people didn't like them. I thought they were okay. I mean, if you ignore Jar Jar Binks, they weren't that bad. They're a lot better than the... Well, anyway, beside the point, you get a lot more flashbacks to Darth Vader, and he ends up in the end teaming up with this woman. She goes away with him, and basically they're both going to get revenge. He's getting revenge because Luke was hidden away from him, and somebody stole him away and hid all this information about Padme. So he wants that information, and now this woman's going in because she wants revenge on the person that killed or who was responsible for killing Padme, even though we all know it was Darth Vader. She doesn't know that. She thinks it was the Emperor, so she wants to know who the person actually was that pulled the trigger and killed Padme. It's going to be very interesting when she finds out it was Anakin Skywalker, also known as Darth Vader. Will Darth Vader kill a person who looks identical to Padme? Will it come to that, or will he just let her go? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. And then we're going to round this all out with Star Wars Bounty Hunters issue number 1. I've got to show it because I loved it. This was part of my extras for this week. I love this cover. This was my favorite cover for Bounty Hunters. And it, believe it or not, it actually does have Boba Fett in it. So Boba Fett working with a group of other bounty hunters have a bounty. And one of the people in their team, one of the persons in their team, she turns on the bounty and kills the person they were supposed to protect, which then puts a gigantic bounty on their head because the person who gets killed is, let's just say, a very important person. And with this person being killed by them, there is now a humongous bounty on their heads. So we jump to present day where Boba Fett's gone off on his own, but the other bounty hunter, I can't remember his freaking name. I hate that. See, this is when you have too many books you're reading and you forget. But Lash is the one that turns on them. I forget what the name was of the person who we follow throughout this book. He's with Boba Fett. Valance. Okay, it was Valance. So we follow Valance throughout most of this book, and then we find out that Lash kind of wished Dr. Aphra would be a bounty hunter. No, but we find out that Dr. Aphra actually is in this book. I'm not a fan of Dr. Aphra, but at the same time, I don't know. We'll see. But Dr. Aphra does show up in this book. So Valance is running away from the people who are still hunting him down because of that incident. And then it turns out that Lash went into hiding, but now we're at this takes place right after Empire Strikes Back. So they reach out, this person who has the bounty on Lash reaches out to Valance, who doesn't want to be bothered, then reaches out to Boba Fett, who has the carbonite frozen Han Solo, and says, wait, before you hang up on me, we found Lash. And Boba Fett's going to want revenge for what Lash did. I'm 50-50 with Aphra, just waiting for Vader to... I know, right? Eventually Vader's going to kill her. Let's hope. So Boba Fett, who's ready to be like, no, I don't want to be bothered. I have this thing I'm doing. Okay, fine, I'm going to go. So Boba Fett's actually taking the bounty, and I think he's going to reach out to Valance, or somehow Valance is going to find out, and they're going to go after Lash. Love the artwork. Story definitely interested me, so I'll be sticking around. Probably not in the physical single issue forms. I love this cover. However, if the second issue speaks to me as far as the cover, it's a mini series. At that point, I'll be like, I'm just getting the whole series as back. I have don't follow me week to week when it comes to books at this point, because if you haven't read the post yet, by the way, review's done. That was it. Bounty Hunters, definitely get it. Out of every single book I've talked about this week, the only books that I'm on are Young Justice. I'm on the fence with that. What other book? I feel like there was another book that I wasn't really feeling too much. No, everything else I liked. So there you go. So, and Batman's Grave, I'm on. So 50-50. Very short week for DC, though. I will say that. Very, very short week for DC. And everything else kind of felt. Oh, and I forgot one book. I love it. I'm going to put it at the end then because we're going to talk about it really quickly. I'm sorry, review not over. Rewind. There is one more book to talk about, and that is, and I'm going to have to fix it on my description, Decorum issue number 1. No, Brent, you're not late. I forgot to talk about Decorum issue number 1, which now is the last book we're going to talk about. Oh yeah, by the way, I'll share this because it is important. Go get your comics today. By the way, some shops have new releases this week, today, a day early. I wonder why they're doing that. Maybe they're worried that shops are going to close? Or is that just to be nice because of everything that's going on with, what you call it? So we're rewinding back to the review. I did not like Decorum. Now I know why. I probably forgot it on the list. I didn't like it. The artwork was okay towards the end of the book. The beginning of the book, I didn't like the artwork. It's got Hickman all over it. Charts, and more charts. I read Decorum over a week ago. We reviewed it on Frontline. And a week later, I was like, yeah, maybe I'll try the second issue. No, I am not coming back. New comic day is today. Well, there's why. So if you want to find out, I know that's a link. I'm sorry, but if you go into my chat, you can click the link there. I will probably click it after this video because I didn't have a chance to check that out. I just saw it being mentioned in our group right before I went live. Are there charts in the charts? I wish I had Decorum to show you, Jordan. There actually is a chart of a map, and then right next to it is a chart of the map deeper. So, yeah, no. I would not recommend Decorum. I didn't like it. If you're a Jonathan Hickman fan, if you like charts, if you like stuff like that, go for it. Not my type of book. I decided just not to read issue number 2. There are a lot of new number 1s coming out that I want to try. And the one thing I don't like, I like Hickman's X-Men. The one thing I don't like is every single X-Men issue, there's a chart involved. Oh, here we go. Brant's going to tell us for me. Thank you, Brant. It's basically Diamond gave permission so shops would have a chance before any policies went into effect. Oh! So in case there was a policy that went into effect and shops had to either close down or had to close earlier, it would allow, at least for this week, the books to get out early. So this way, next week, if they do close earlier or a closed period, yeah, understood. They'll probably, I don't see them, again, in America at least, I don't see comic shops closing, but I do see there being a curfew possibly in effect, which would affect sales of books because they'd have to either get the books out a day earlier to have them ready for Wednesday, or I don't know. I don't think they'd ever shut down completely. I don't think, unless maybe for 1 week, 1 or 2 weeks, that might happen where everything shuts down, which would be creepy. And I know everybody would be ordering books online. I will say that much because the mail will still probably go through. But this thing, like I said, we all got to get this under control. So do as little socializing outside of your house as possible. If you can stay in, stay in. Let's kick this virus's ass, one step at a time. And, if you can stay in, stay in. Don't go out unnecessarily. Don't, allow for the spread to keep going. This goes to everyone. And I know the whole world doesn't watch my videos, but everyone is talking about it, from Matt Hardy to Sammy Guevara to everyone. So please, if you do not have to go out, stay home. Stay home. There's so much you can do. Watch streaming service. Watch us here on YouTube. Play video games. Stream video games. I don't care if you want to watch people streaming video games. Just don't go out unless you absolutely have to. And for God's sakes, stop buying all the toilet papers. The virus isn't eating toilet paper. It's hurting people. It's going to still be in the supermarket. No, but now it's not, because you got people hoarding it because they are afraid that magically all of it's going to disappear. Allow for people who want a normal amount of toilet paper, tissues, napkins, paper towels, and food in their house to get their rations. Please stop buying everything up. The world isn't ending. It just might take a bit of a pause. Don't do that, Brent. I didn't get to that yet. Oh, I know what you're doing. Never mind. Now I read it. Or you could just join us for Comic Book Weekly. That'll give you something to do in a couple hours. Yes. I thought you were promoting Comic Book Weekly. I wasn't done yet. I thought you were promoting. I'm like, dude, give me a chance. Give me a chance. I didn't finish yet. I wasn't done yet. But that was the end of the review. So, like I was saying before that, I do have something I'm working on, an idea I'm working on. Brent knows what I'm talking about. I will be doing a video on Dark Avenger Nation, if not tonight, because it's already 4:47. If not tonight, than tomorrow because, like Brant just said, we have Comic Book Weekly coming up in a few short hours over on Comic Frontline. So we'll see what happens. Brant trying to rush Chris to the end. No, it never happened. I did not forget that one book, Brant. I got every single book, all 22 of them. So I forgot there was something else I was talking about before I went into forgetting that other book. And I wonder if the comments will remind me. Probably not. Now we're talking about Dr. Afro. We were talking about Star Wars. That was it. But I have a lot that I'm working on. So look forward to hearing more. Why I brought the comic reviews back is that's what I was talking about. I said that's up on Shooting Star Universe. And I was talking about why I got back into so many books. It's just, I was talking about, now I remember. No, Brent, I'm not reading a comment right now because I remember. So the reason I'm saying I don't know what I'm getting week to week anymore, it all is in that article I wrote on shootingstaruniverse.com. It's all in there where I was talking about how for a while I was dragged down and there was a lot dragging me down. But now that I've kind of realized the problem, I've not only realized it, I've addressed it, I've fixed it, and I've actually, in a way, fixed how I feel. It's kind of like back with Superman 3, where Superman was off for a time. I wasn't in the beer shop shooting peanuts at mirrors and breaking them, but I was in that. I was at that. Had nothing to do with this. I know, good. So I'll read it after this. So my mindset was in that darker place where it came to doing videos and stuff. Again, it's all in the article. And ever since I fixed that, and ever since this past weekend where I had that gigantic just wake-up call, and then also watching Comic Book Palace and just enjoying Superman 4. Shut up, Jordan. It wasn't, compared to what we've been getting, I'd watch Superman 4 over certain other Superman movies because at least it was a Superman movie. But ever since watching Comic Book Palace and just coming to all that realization and all that stuff just came together. And honestly, I started feeling this way back in October. So you have this thing that started growing since October of last year. You had me watching Comic Book Palace and then me coming to that gigantic realization that finally the light kind of shined through. Well, Tevye, you don't have to watch it. You don't have to come to the watch party. We'll just watch it without you. And now it's just like my love for everything comic related has been renewed in a way. And now when I look at comic books, I feel like I look at them the way I looked at them way back 5 years ago when I first started doing these reviews, when I first started talking about comics. And that's why I say every week, I don't know. 3 weeks ago, I never thought I would be holding a Bounty Hunters issue #1 physically in my hand. I never would have thought I was holding half the books that I have now on pre-order. I didn't think I'd be holding, I would be getting, I don't know what I'm getting next week. Wasteland and a Spider-Woman. Again, it's just, it's like I feel a lot better now, and I hope it shows in my videos, especially, and with Dark Avenger Live now back, the comic reviews back. It feels like status quo is finally happening. It feels like I went through New 52 for a couple of years on my end in my life. The good news is it only lasted about 3 years. I was saying 2. It only lasted about 3, maybe 3.5 years. It wasn't 5 years like New 52. So I got through it. We all got through it. Whoever stayed, whoever is still here, I appreciate that. And hopefully whoever we lost along those 3 years of craziness and just stuff that should have been fixed earlier, I hope that somehow we could all bring them back in and we could build this community back up to where it was before all the crazy shenanigans started happening. You know what's funny? I read 21 and you still read 8 books. I didn't. Well, Brant, we'll have to compare what books we read later because I'm actually curious now what other books you read. Because, I know one of them would be The Man Who Effed Up Time. I just didn't find interest in that. Mr. Shooting Star is back. Exactly. The Shooting Star was the beginning of the realization, and then it just took off from there. So with that being said, I'm going to go because we just did the Dark Avenger comic review. We have Comic Book Weekly that is going to be coming up in another few short hours. Look forward to that. You can go over to Comic Frontline. The countdown is there. We're not there yet, but we will be there tonight, talking comics, talking news, and way, way more. Don't forget to follow me all across social media, Dark Avenger C86, except on Twitch, Dark Avenger Gaming. Follow and join the Dark Avenger Nation group on Facebook. We're having a blast over there. I'm having fun doing some exclusive content, exclusive pictures, exclusive stuff on there. Follow it. We're getting members who are going to be doing some exclusive stuff on the Dark Avenger Nation. Join it today so you don't miss on anything tomorrow. And you won't have so much to catch up on. Till then, everybody, thank you so much, all of you, for being here live with me. The Black Knight, Jordan, Ryan, Tevya, Brandt. I feel like other people were here. JD was here at the very beginning. And Mike T was here at the very beginning as well. Thank you all so much for being here live. I love each and every one of you. I'll see all of you really soon. Hopefully next week we'll be back to the normal Dark Avenger comic book review, which is pre-recorded, and then I'll be sitting in chat with all of you talking about books. So we'll see what happens. We'll see this Friday for Dark Avenger Live. Previews. Oh my goodness, previews. Tomorrow, Thursday, Friday. It'll be DC, Marvel, and then the rest of the main previews book. Look forward to those videos. Look forward to a lot. And like I said, tune in to Dark Avenger Nation video really soon concerning stuff that I'm going to be doing in light of everything that's going on in the world, the craziness that's going on in the world today. Take care. Keep reading, keep collecting. I say take care a lot because I want you to take care. I really do. So take care. Take care. Totally take care. See, I'm live, so I can do this, and I don't have to worry about editing this out later. So take care. Keep reading, keep collecting, and I'll see you all really soon in the next video. Later, everybody.